But let's talk now to Freddie Gray, deputy editor at The Spectator. We're going to talk about what's going on in the US election, of course. There's been quite a few betting market changes over the course of the last few days. Donald Trump has suddenly become a lot more popular, not so much in the polls, but certainly in the betting. The latest poll released by AARP on Tuesday has the former president at 49%, 2 points ahead of Kamala Harris with 47% of supporters. Let's talk to Freddie to find out how it's all been going. Freddie, how you doing?
Very well, Mike. Nice to be with you.
Yeah, good to talk to you. On Monday, Kamala Harris's chances of victory fell to 45.8%, while Trump's rose to 54%. It seems pretty clear that that 60 Minutes interview that she did has not done her any favours.
Well, yes, it was interesting. That spike for Trump in the betting markets came in the hours before the CBS 60 Minutes interview aired. And I think that must have been because word got out and big money started piling in favour of Donald Trump. But as we've seen many times, the Democrats do have substantial power over legacy media, old media, which tends to be pro-democratic. And even though the interview was a car crash, it's already been seen, particularly on one of her answers, that they edited it to make it look less bad. This particular answer was about Israel. And that is just fairly typical of the way the media behave. But I think credit should go out to Bill Whitaker. In fact, I think he deserves a prize, who was the interviewer in that CBS 60 Minutes interview, because he did what a lot of his contemporaries have failed to do, and that is challenge Kamala Harris. He wasn't rude. He didn't kind of do gotchas. He challenged her, but he insisted that she try to answer questions, and she just couldn't do it. And this is Harris's big problem. She's on a big media blitz this week because her campaign know that Americans don't feel they know what she stands for. They don't really know who she is, even though she's been vice president for 4 years. And the media blitz is backfiring pretty badly. I think that, she went on The View, which is supposed to be a cozier chat, certainly very favourable to her. It's kind of women sitting around talking Democratic talking points. And she said, she was asked, is there anything you would have done that that Joe Biden didn't do, or is there anything you would have done different to Joe Biden? And she said, nothing comes to mind. Which is a sort of open goal. Because there's so many Americans who are so angry about various things the Biden administration have done. She's failing on all fronts, and this horrific hurricane, is in fact coming to her rescue in some ways, because it's blown out the main story of the news cycle, which was how badly she seems to be doing when faced with anything like a difficult question.
Absolutely right. I mean, so much so that we made fun of her just 2 days ago, where I had a guest in here to ask me a question, which I answered in the form of a Kamala Harris answer, in which you basically just don't give any details at all and talk about how everybody's looking for consensus and how, I come from a middle-class background. And it's become a meme, and it's become a thing on social media. People have been... I saw a clip of a guy, just some random American guy, asking his daughter why she hadn't done her homework, and it was hashtag answering like Kamala Harris. So it's become a thing. People are going, this is absolutely ridiculous. But she's also been in a bit of trouble over the hurricane, has she not? Because she came out and said that everyone was going to be given, any victim of the hurricane would get $750, and it's been set against the current climate of illegal migrants and so many people coming into the country, and rather like in Britain, being given stuff and being given money and food and shelter and all the rest of it, when, Americans in Florida are getting nothing.
Well, yes, I was going to reply, Mike, that we need to think about the significance of the passage of time, which is another Kamala way of not answering a question. But I think on the natural disaster stuff, yes, Kamala Harris and the Biden administration, which Harris is obviously a part of, were caught on the back foot with the earlier storms, with Helene and the damage there, and their response was inadequate. Or a lot of the voters felt their response was inadequate, particularly in the affected regions in North Carolina, which is still a swing state, or is meant to be. And the Trump team attacked them for it very effectively. I think with this one, they've got their kind of comms ducks in a row a bit more. Kamala dialed into CNN yesterday, to say she just had a briefing on the situation, and they were really across it. And I think the Harris team think that if they are on top of this event, media-wise, it'll work in their favour, particularly because people tend to tune into older media channels when hurricanes are going on, and that works in their favour. Whereas when everything's disparate and viral, Harris is bad.
Right. And so, in your view, what's sort of changed this week? I mean, we talked a bit about the money markets and Poly Market in particular, sort of reporting in that Trump's lead is getting bigger. Do you see? Is that an actual trend now? Do you think?
I think it is. It's a small trend. I think we have to be very careful because we've often thought throughout this race, or since Harris has been elevated ticket, which was a significant shift in terms of polling, that definitely brought things up more level. We've often thought, oh, that debate, Trump was pretty terrible in the debate, that's going to change things. It did a tiny bit. We thought the vice presidential debate, which a surprising number of people tuned into, would change things. It has a tiny bit. The real point, which all the experts on this say, is that this is extremely close. It's down to 5 or 6 battleground states. Right. It's probably, as Trump says, really down to Pennsylvania. If Trump can win Pennsylvania, he's likely to win. If he can't, he's likely to lose. Okay. And Pennsylvania is extremely tight. The latest polls show he has a slight advantage there. But generally, I don't think there's going to be an October surprise in the way that we have had October surprises in the past that changes the election, simply because this whole year has been so surprising. You've had 2 assassination attempts, you've had the Biden-Harris drama. Everything is sort of exhausting. And you've now got this hurricane, which is, biblical proportions. You've got alligators being flooded out. Sorry, it's not funny, it's terrible, but it is extraordinary. And yet even that, I don't think it's going to shift the fundamental dynamics of the race, because there are so few independents up for grabs. There are so few swing voters up for grabs. You either think Donald Trump is the answer, or you think
he's not. Yeah, absolutely right. Freddie, good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. We've got to run. Freddie Gray there, Deputy Editor at The Spectator.